each milestone matters, that every new candle represents another step in your story. Our healthcare experts support women at every stage of life, because each chapter deserves to be celebrated. Women's health. Nurture what's next. Find care near you at mountain.commonspirit.org. Common Spirit Health. Human kindness lives here.
Dental phobia? Consider sedation dentistry with Clarkson Dental. Their highly trained team will lead you through an exceptional dental experience from that first fearful call all the way through to aftercare. Call the most experienced sedation dentist and staff. Clarkson Dental, coloradosedation.com.
2026 is shaping up to be an amazing year to buy a home in Colorado. If you've been dreaming about getting into your first place, upgrading for more space, or downsizing for a simpler lifestyle, now is a smart time to start planning. And the first step is easy. Get pre-approved. With American Financing, you can get it done in 24 hours or less, so you'll know exactly what you can afford before you start shopping. Rates have been dropping, home prices are steady, and more homes are hitting the market. You could score the right home at the right price and lock in a monthly payment that fits your budget without stretching yourself thin. And unlike renting, every payment you make goes toward your future, not your landlord's. And here's a misconception we love to bust. You do not need 20% down. Many buyers purchase with as little as 3% down. So if home ownership is on your 2026 goals list, let's make it happen. Call American Financing, Colorado's home for home loans, at 303-695-7000. That's 303-695-7000, or visit them online at americanfinancing.net. NMLS 182334, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Enjoy this run to the playoffs and be safe when you're going to the games or to parties. If you do get into an accident, make the right call to Flanagan Law. While the other guys blend in, I stand out. Look for the Shamrock. Flanagan Law, your advocate when you need it most.
Miss an electrical problem, and it can mean big trouble for your business. That's why Napa delivers the parts, tools, and expertise to catch problems before they become breakdowns. That's Napa know-how.
KKFN and KKFN HD1 Longmont, Denver. You're listening to Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan. It's Reaction Monday, powered by Selter Har Motors. Here's Denver Sports Tonight.
Reaction Monday continues. Denver Sports Tonight. Mike Rice, Dante Gomez. Dante, good to see you. We had college football on Friday, so we did not gather as we usually do on Fridays. How was the weekend?
It was great. It was great.
Nice.
I mean, that slate of football, how could it not have been?
Right. Right.
I mean, it was great. I had a couple of my friends go up to the mountains on Saturday and Sunday. They invited me to go, and I was like, guys, I'm sorry, I can't do it. I have to sit on the couch, and I have to watch 12 hours of football over the next 2 days.
So was it to hang out in the mountains? Was it to like ski or?
Yeah, going skiing.
Okay.
They went up to Winter Park for the. They spent Saturday night out there, but I had to say no. It was too good of a slate of football to pass up on, and I felt so vindicated in that decision after the Bears and Packers game was an all-timer, and then the next day we get a bunch of great games too. So even the Rams-Panthers game was great too. So so far it's been a clean sweep for me as far as good games to watch, and hopefully that continues.
So did they understand, or were they like, "Well, what are you doing, ditching us?" Did they get it?
I think they understood. I think
Okay.
they didn't say this, but in my head they were like, "Oh, Dante's just being lazy and he's gonna watch football all day."
Okay.
Which
Well,
pretty accurate.
I mean, yeah.
I
After
feel
all,
pretty good with that decision.
Yeah, the games did bear out the fact you made a good call. Whether it's the right call, I don't know. But, man, there were some good games. We're going to talk about the weekend that was. We will talk, of course, about the Broncos. And there's a game about to start as well. And we'll keep you posted on the Texans and Steelers. That will round out Wild Card Weekend. And I guess we start, Dante, with – if I were to say either big picture or from any individual game, totally wide open. And by the way, if you guys want to weigh in, do so on the RamosLaw.com text line, 303-713-1043. What impression was most prominent for you coming out of the weekend and the NFL playoff games? Again, it could be a big picture observation. It could be a moment from a game. It could be a player that stood out for a positive reason or negative reason. What were a couple of the top impressions you had?
I'm going to cheat. I'm going to go with two.
Okay.
I'll go in chronological order throughout the weekend. So I'll start with my first one was that Caleb Williams is a guy. That throw he made on 4th down in the 4th quarter with, I think it was about 5 or 6 minutes left in that game. My goodness, what a play. It showed why he was the number 1 overall draft pick and why he was thought of the way he was. The athleticism, the arm talent, all of it. And he showed time and time again in that game that he was going to go out there and make the plays when he needed to. And he went out and beat a good team. I know the Packers lost in the wild card round, obviously, but to me that was probably the best team that's lost so far. I think maybe the Jaguars, but Caleb Williams, my goodness, I think he's going to be around for the next decade, and I think him and Ben Johnson are going to have a really good relationship up there in Chicago, and they will be in the playoffs multiple times. They'll make some NFC championships, maybe make it to a Super Bowl. Who knows? But I think the sky is the ceiling for that guy. So I was really blown away with how he was able to overcome adversity and come back in that second half against the Packers. And then I'm going to go as my second biggest takeaway, the Patriots are for real. I wasn't sure about them.
Really?
They hadn't really played a gauntlet of a schedule. And I know their record was great, but it could have been a little bit of a fraudulent team there. And I wasn't the biggest believer in the Chargers either, so we'll see what happens next weekend when they take on a better opponent, in my opinion, which will be either the Texans or the Steelers. But I think there's a good chance that if the Broncos win on Saturday over the Bills, that they're welcoming the Patriots in the AFC Championship.
Yeah, I think that's probably likely, given that the Patriots are going to play the Texans or the Steelers. And, again, that Texans defense we know all about. That's an interesting one. I've liked Drake May all year long. I wasn't so sure when they picked him a couple of years ago.
Weren't you waiting to see against a higher quality opponent, though? It felt like he was beating up on some bad teams in the Jets or Miami the last couple of weeks of the year. I wanted to see him go out and do it in a big-time game with a big-time defense on the other side.
Yes, to some degree. But there was also part of me that said, Drake May's balling, and he's playing really well against everybody that he's playing. And I do agree that, and you have to acknowledge that the Patriots' schedule has not been all that tough. But there have been some teams that Bo Nix has played, the Broncos have played, and Bo hasn't looked great. They found ways to win, and yet I don't really hold that against Bo in a major way. And so I've liked Drake May, and when you have that guy, even if there are things to prove, I mean, even if the Patriots win and let's say they lose in the AFC Championship game, there's going to be things that Drake May still has to prove. Even if he wins the MVP this year, which he very well could, he's got to get better. But my big picture impression, Dante, as I watched all these games, I think, and this was before the divisional round started, I come away thinking every team that's alive has a shot to win it. Every team that is alive, if they play pretty well, they've got a really good shot to advance. There is not a team in the field for me that I go, oh, man, that's the team to beat, home or away. Even the Broncos at home, it's like, no, if they don't play well, they're going to get beat, and they might get beat this weekend if they don't play well. In fact, they probably will, because that's the time of year we're in. And it was so apparent to me that, I mean, the Packers for the first half, certainly, as one example, played pretty well in that game. Even in the second half when they were trying to keep it together, I mean, McManus was the one who missed some opportunities. They were in position to either build on the lead or push it out just a little bit, make things more difficult for Chicago as the Bears tried to come back. Every team has a shot, and it's all about, can you play well enough, and then the other side of the coin is not only play well enough to put yourself in position, but then make big plays when you have opportunities. And the Broncos have done that all year long. They've been very good, obviously, for those in Broncos country watching. You know this. They've been very good making plays when they've needed to. And it just was so stark to me as I watched the games this weekend.
I think that's a great point as well. That would have been one of my bigger takeaways, overarching, at least with the NFL wildcard round, that people were worried that the NFL product wasn't going to be as good in the playoffs without a Patrick Mahomes, without a Joe Burrow, without a Lamar Jackson. But to me, this was one of the more exciting wild card weekends that I've seen in the last 5, 6, 10 years, however far back you want to go. So I was excited going into the weekend because I thought all the matchups were going to be exciting, and I'm equally excited going into next weekend because, again, I think that divisional round is going to be a bloodbath of 8 good teams left in the NFL. I don't think there's a bad team left, and I'm with you. I don't think there's one dominant team over the rest. If I had to pick one, I would go with the Rams at this point.
Yeah, probably.
And I know they played a close game against the Panthers, who were thought of as a lesser opponent there, but I'm still scared of Sean McVay, the genius that he is, and then Stafford being able to make every throw in the book and just the experience that he brings to the table, too.
And Adams getting healthier on the outside. And, I mean, Puka Nacua is just ridiculous, the things that guy does at the receiver position. You know, you're right. If I had to pick a team and you said, what team, Mike, do you think realistically will win the Super Bowl? I'd love to say Broncos. I think they've got a shot for sure. But my money would be on the Rams to win it all because I think when they play well, I think they're the toughest team to beat on both sides of the ball. But, man, I mean, Carolina made a believer out of me. Even when, going down the stretch, they're battling for the division, I thought this is not a very good football team. Better than they have been, but that's not saying a lot. And I tell you what, I did not expect that game to be that close at all. I thought the Panthers played really well. I thought the Rams certainly had their moments, and they came up with the big catch by Parkinson there at the end, and Stafford gets it done. But the Panthers really showed me something, and Bryce Young showed me something throughout the year. I thought that guy was going to be destined for the backup scrap heap here before too long, and I think I was wrong about Bryce Young because what Dave Canales has done as the head coach has been really, really good. It's been a great fit for them.
Yeah, no, they looked pretty good. They looked competitive in that game, and usually that's the way it goes in the NFL. When one of those teams that wins their division gets to host a playoff game, and everybody around the country's up in arms of like, why is this 7-9 team hosting a playoff game? Or I guess it would be 7-10 now, or 8-9 now. Why are they hosting a playoff game when what do the Rams win? 12 games, 13 games, have to go on the road? And usually that home team ends up putting up a pretty big fight. They're thought of as this massive underdog, and that's just not what the NFL playoffs are. The NFL playoffs are close games. You hardly ever see a big blowout in the playoffs. I think the Patriots and Chargers game last night is probably one of the bigger blowouts we're going to see all playoffs here coming up from last weekend for the next month here. So I think it's going to be a tight game, and the Broncos have proved themselves to be in those tight games. They find a way to win. It's going to be a different level of opponent as you welcome in Buffalo here, but at least you can draw from that experience of like, hey, we've been down and out, or we've been in a tie game late needing a play, and the Broncos usually come up with it when they needed to.
And the Broncos have been, even when they haven't played well offensively, and there have been big chunks of games that they have struggled, they've managed to keep the game close in many cases. Not all. I mean, the Giants game, they were down big and had to have the historic comeback in the fourth quarter with the 33 points. But in a lot of games, they haven't looked great, and yet they've kind of hung around enough, down 7, down 8, down 10, and then they're able to rally when the chips are down in the fourth quarter. RamosLaw.com text line from the 8728. What are you talking about? Drake the Messiah May was actually Teddy Bridgewater in that game. Caleb Williams beat a team that hasn't won since December 7th. So let's take Drake May first. If you're going to make the case that Drake May is not a good quarterback, I just disagree. Is he a complete quarterback? No. Is he the best quarterback in the league? No. Is he pretty good for a young quarterback? I think he is. I do. And does he have some things to prove as far as the stage gets bigger? Can he win on that stage? Of course. Bo Nix has the same thing to prove. I mean, Bo Nix went to Buffalo, and the Broncos got pounded last year. And some people believe in Bo. Other people, it's like, hey, show me. And I think Bo Nix has got to show people. But if you have a team like the Patriots do, where your quarterback doesn't have to throw for 378 yards and 4 touchdowns, which Drake May is capable of doing, then you do that. I mean, the Steelers won a Super Bowl and Ben Roethlisberger's second year doing that. So that to me isn't a strike against Drake May. I just think he's a really good young quarterback.
And I think last night wasn't the perfect example of the Patriots winning because of Drake May. It was,
right.
It was a very
Fair.
much so a team win. The defense
Sure.
went out and stifled Justin Herbert in that offense, but he was pretty efficient. 17 for 29, 268, averaging 9.2 an attempt. I think, to me, that's a pretty solid NFL playoff debut. I would say that's probably better than, and I'm going more based on the eye test on this one. I don't have Bo Nix's playoff resume in front of me from last year against the Bills, but to me, Drake May looks more comfortable than Bo Nix did in that Buffalo game last year. And I get it that the Patriots are a better team all around than the Broncos were last season, but it's still hard to go out and make your first playoff start. And to me, he looked pretty comfortable. 66 yards on the ground, too. So I think he played well enough with his team in a comfortable spot throughout the whole game. I don't think there was a lot of nail-biting moments of that game. And Drake May played the game he had to for the Patriots to win.
Yeah. If he plays that well this weekend against the Texans or Steelers, there's a chance. I don't think it's a slam dunk, but certainly there's a chance that the Patriots advance.
Yeah, he also wasn't asked to do that much. In a game that they're down or it's a closer game, I think they will ask him to do more, and then we'll really know more about Drake May's presence in the playoffs.
I'm just looking. The Broncos, of course, lost in the playoffs last year to the Bills 31-7. In that game, Bo Nix was 13 of 22, 144 yards and a touchdown. If I recall right, that touchdown was on the first possession of the game.
I believe so, too, to Troy Franklin.
To Franklin,
for
that's
50
right.
yards or whatever it was.
So, yeah, I mean, I think if you compare the two performances, I think Drake May's is certainly statistically it was better. I think the Broncos were playing a better team than the Patriots were playing last night for sure.
Yeah, and it's not apples to apples,
no, of course
obviously.
not.
But it's both quarterbacks making their first playoff debut, and I think Drake May looked pretty solid.
I would agree, and the texter feels differently. That's great. Again, we're gonna find out how these younger quarterbacks, these younger players, handle the big stage as they advance, and then how they perform in the next round. And the Patriots are going to get, of course, the Steelers-Texans winner. Which, by the way, before this gets started, you picking the Texans?
I'm not picking.
Oh,
What, are you going to afford? Do I have to pick?
No, you don't have to do anything. I was just asking who you like.
Most of my wagers on the night do not involve either team winning or losing. So.
Okay, well, I mean, just for the fun of it then between the two of us, not necessarily with anything on the line.
I like the Steelers.
Really?
I do. I think that them at home is a huge advantage. TJ Watt coming back last week against the Ravens. I think that's going to be a huge advantage. Aaron Rodgers been there and done that, but if the Texans go out and win 20-0, that wouldn't surprise me that much either.
All right, back to the RamosLaw.com text line. Dante, our texter takes an issue with you and your comment about Drake May and the schedule. The Broncos played against 5 backup quarterbacks this season, and I believe the number is 7. The games they were tied or trailing in the fourth quarter, including games against the Jets and Giants. He who lives in a glass house, ... Any rebuttal?
Well, to me, it was more about I wanted to see more of Drake May against a good team, which we got to see against the Chargers. I would say this weekend's a great opportunity for Bo Nix to go out and do the same thing.
Okay. Oh, and the other from the car guy in Greeley, Drake May was also playing at home. He was. And Bo Nix is going to be playing at home. That's all part of the equation. 303-713-1043 on the RamosLaw.com text line. Another impression that I had, I was thinking how fun it was to watch Caleb Williams. But beyond that, since you already used that impression, and this just goes back to my days when the 49ers were my main team, and there's still that soft spot in my heart for that team. But man, Kyle Shanahan can coach. I know what's happened in the Super Bowls, okay? I get it. But what he's done with the 49ers, with all of the injuries and upheaval and changes, and what Brock Purdy does, man, I mean, and I picked the 49ers and to beat the Eagles, and I still was left going, man, they find a way to win too. They really do. And even above Shanahan and above Purdy, I mean, Christian McCaffrey just leaves me shaking my head. He absolutely does. How good is that guy? When he's healthy and plays a full season, I mean, he had, over 400 touches this year? That's craziness. And he is fun to watch. He is fun to watch.
He is so dang good. And I thought it might be over for him after all the Achilles issues he's had the last year or two. And he basically sat out all of last season, if I'm remembering that correctly.
A good portion of it, yeah. It seems like every other year he kind of goes through some of the injury bug stuff.
Yeah, either way, I thought he was over the hill. I thought he was done. Where he would still be on a roster, but he wouldn't be a top 5 offensive weapon in the NFL the way he has been this year. My goodness, I think he leads the team in receiving and in rushing. You just never see that on a good team, too, that went out and won as many games as they did this year. We're in contention to win the division going into Week 18. We're in contention to get the number 1 seed in the AFC
I know.
going into Week 18. So, and they are just so injury riddled. So, to me, that game came down to a huge coaching mismatch, and Kyle Shanahan coached circles around Nick Sirianni, where Nick Sirianni easily, far and away, had the better roster going into that game, and the Niners go out and lose George Kittle as well in that first half of that game, and they're still able to come out and win. That just said everything, or that said everything you need to know about the difference between those two coaching staffs.
Can I just add one more impression from that game? Man, the Eagles' offense is just bad. I mean, really bad. They have fallen off in a major way. And, when the Broncos beat them back there, what was that, like Week 5 in early October, something like that? I thought, okay, they'll figure it out. They'll get it together. They've never gotten it together offensively. That they're just not that good offensively, period, the end. I'm not saying Jalen Hurts is not a good player or any individual guy. Just as a group, they have not figured it out. And they weren't able to figure it out last night against the 49ers.
I would be surprised if that offensive coordinator isn't fired by the end of the week.
I am in agreement. By the way, just to clean up the thought on Christian McCaffrey, this year played in all 17 games. Last year limited to 4 games. Year before that, 16, and then going back a few years, 11, 6, 17 in 2022, but the 2 years prior, 7 and 3. So, yeah, it's been sort of hit and miss, feast or famine with Christian and the health, and yet when he's right, man, there's not too many guys in the league like him. He is like the epitome of the dual threat at quarterback. Really, really fun, and just how quick he is. And, man, I love watching him play.
He's the ultimate chess piece. He can do whatever you need to on the field, whether it's catching the ball, running the ball. I think he probably even blocks well when he needs to. So I think it's just I'm excited, and this might be rude to Carolina fans. I'm excited that he got out of Carolina, and we get to see him under such a great coach that is Kyle Shanahan and under a team that's in the playoffs year in and year out for the most part. So I'm very excited that he gets to be on this stage with the 49ers and has been the last handful of seasons.
Another game I wanted to touch on and get some thoughts from you, Dante, is that Buffalo-Jacksonville game. Of course, the Bills won it 27-24. Josh Allen with the heroics, scoring the touchdown with under a minute to go to put them up, or just over a minute to go, I guess. And then they hold on as Trevor Lawrence throws the pick early in the ensuing drive after the pass was tipped. There's something to be said for having been there and done it. And I know the Bills hadn't won on the road in the playoffs for a while, but you have a guy like Allen who nothing really phases him aside from the talent, aside from the ability to play through and around injuries. That dude battles and scraps. And I thought the Bills' experience was huge in that game. And Jacksonville looked like a team that had an opportunity with it all on the line, and they couldn't get it done.
Yeah, I think both teams played really well. I think the pick at the end, I don't have too much of a problem with it. Obviously, you want to try to make a play for Trevor Lawrence. You're trying to push the ball down the field, get that game-winning score. I also didn't have a problem with people were complaining about Josh Allen scoring too quickly with a minute left in that game. I'm in the belief of when you can score a go-ahead touchdown like that, you score the go-ahead touchdown. You don't mess around with kneeing the ball out for a play and then trying to get in there. if you're losing the game, take the lead first, then you can worry about the clock and the rest of the stuff. So I had no problem with the way they scored at the end there. But you're right. The experience of Josh Allen in the playoffs, that whole roster, I guess, or most of that roster has been in the playoffs multiple times. So I think the experience of that, plus just knowing that you have the best quarterback in the NFL lining up on your team when you have Josh Allen back there. So I think that gives that team a lot of confidence going ahead into the playoffs here. And a lot of the responsibility of winning goes on Josh Allen, probably more unproportional than the rest of the teams in the NFL playoffs still. And he's just go out there and he's a warrior. He goes out there and battles for his team as the ultimate football guy, ultimate locker room guy, while still being a $50 million quarterback. You see a lot of these guys, they get paid that big payday, and they don't want to go run in the playoffs anymore. They don't want to risk injury like that. And I'm sure some of that comes down from the organization saying, hey, we need you healthy throughout the year. But Josh Allen, when it's playoff time, he does not care. He's going out there to win the ball game no matter what it takes.
Yeah, 9-play, 66-yard drive and 259, capped on that tush-push with 1:04 to go. And I'm with you. All the discussion about, well, take a knee at the 1-yard line as long as you don't lose any yard. Score the touchdown. Can you imagine? I mean, because weird things happen.
You get a holding call.
A holding call.
A false start. Yeah, whatever it could be.
Whatever. Or you fumble. And you weren't I mean, can you imagine if the Bills' intention was to just try and burn a little more clock and then something goofy happens? Let's just say they, like you said, they flop on it, they take a knee at the 1-yard line, right at the line of scrimmage, and then the next play is a false start. You go score the touchdown. I mean, let's not overthink this. Take the lead and then rely on your defense, really, in essence, to make an extra, 2 plays maybe. And sometimes you're not going to make those plays defensively, and we know all about Little, and we know all about his leg, and this. It never even came to that. Never even came to that. Score the touchdown, take the lead, get the defense back on the field. It was kind of a crazy second half. Both teams scored 17 points. Both teams scored 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. The other overriding impression is, I'm trying to phrase this so it's not a cliche, but the principle is cliched. You better play for every tick of the clock, because look at how many fireworks there were in the fourth quarters of these games, Dante. Games are not over, even if you have a 10-point lead or a 13-point lead. Team scores, quick turnover, they score again, and that's the kind of weekend it was. I mean, it took the Rams, what was it, a 28-yard touchdown pass with under a minute to go to win that game?
And that was a beautifully thrown ball,
of
beautiful
course,
catch.
Yeah.
So it took them not only going out and scoring at the end, they had to play really well at the end to pull that off.
Yeah, it's going to be fun, and the division round will be fun as well. What about the Broncos? As we focus in on the Broncos and the Bills, are you feeling any better? Are you feeling any worse about the Broncos? We'll tell you how we feel next.
The Broncos and Bills will meet in the playoffs once again. As the top dogs in the AFC, will Denver avenge its blowout loss to Buffalo from a season ago? Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan.
Hey, the cold weather is here. Stoke here from my friends at ROX Rocks Heating and Air. Has another company told you that you need a new furnace? Time to throw in the challenge flag. Rocks Heating and Air offers no obligation, free second opinions. And don't forget about heat pump rebates. They've never been better. Up to $13,500 only at ROX Rocks Heating and Air. Now play that G.
HVAC service, installation, repair. ROX Rocks Heating and Air.
Hi, Dan Cicchini with Dunright. Great pricing options and bank financing? You bet. Kitchens, baths, counters and floors, finished basements, windows and doors. Done right since 1985. You have our word, we'll treat you right at Done Right. Visit drhi.com. Thanks.
The right financial strategies can make a huge difference, especially if you're nearing retirement. Adam Mueller talks retirement strategies with Mile High Money. Saturday mornings at 8 on Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan.
Get a double dose of Division I basketball action on Saturday, January 24th at the University of Denver. Tip off the day at 11 a.m. as the DU women host ORU, followed by the men at 2 p.m. versus North Dakota. It will be a Saturday of nonstop action in Hamilton Gym. Join us for Denver basketball. Get your tickets today online at denverpioneers.com.
So, you're ready to propose, huh?
Yeah, man. She's definitely the one.
What are we thinking about the ring? I got my wife's at Hellsberg. I couldn't recommend a better jeweler.
I could use some help with that.
Man, go to Hellsberg. I had no idea how many details you need to consider. Did you know you can get a natural or lab-grown diamond? I didn't. Figure out what she wants. Trust me, they'll make it happen.
Start your story with Hellsberg. Shop in store or at hellsberg.com.
Hey Broncos country, it's Terrell Davis here. It's a new year. It's time to work on a new you.
At Fitness Gallery, we have deals everywhere, up to 50% off. We have the nation's lowest prices on the best equipment money can buy. We carry true treadmills. They are the smoothest, quietest, and best warranted treadmills ever built for the home. Work out on your schedule on the equipment you choose from the safety and comfort of your own home. Visit one of Fitness Gallery's 7 convenient locations from Colorado Springs to Fort Collins. We have you covered.
A careless driver caused your crash. Medical bills are piling up, and you might not be able to work. Life just got a lot more expensive, and you don't know what to do. At Berg Simpson, your consultation is absolutely free. We'll explain your legal options at no cost to you. Help starts with a phone call to us.
If you've been injured, call Berg Simpson for free now at 303-790-2525. 303-790-2525. BergSimpson.com. Good lawyers changing lives. It's not just a slogan, it's who we are.
You can swirl it, you can sip it, but the best way is to share it. Hey y'all, I'm Deanna, a team member at my local Chick-fil-A. And a little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich and new frosted sodas and floats is how well they go together. You get that bold flavor of the Coke mixed with the smooth deliciousness of the vanilla ice cream. You have a juicy filet and a smooth, creamy float. It's an awesome pairing.
Order a Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich and a new frosted soda and float at your local Chick-fil-A restaurant. Real team member paid for their testimonial.
Are you 50 or older? This news is for you. The CDC recommends you get vaccinated against pneumococcal pneumonia. Even if you're healthy, your age puts you at risk. People 50 or older are over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia compared to adults 18 to 49. Just one shot can help protect you. Learn more and schedule at vaxassist.com. That's VAXassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Imagine finding your dream home and moving in right away. No waiting to sell your old place first. Sounds perfect, right? That's exactly what Orchard's Move First, Sell Later program lets you do. Buy your new home now and sell the old one later. Here's how it works. Orchard gives you cash so you can buy and move into your new home first, on your timeline. No waiting, no showings, no double moves. Then the Orchard experts take it from there. They handle repairs on your old home for you so you attract the right buyers. Once they're done, a local Orchard agent lists and sells your home for top dollar. Orchard's Move First program gives you the freedom to buy and move into your new home first and sell your old home later. Buy before you sell and get top dollar for your home with Orchard. Ready to find out how much your home is worth? Visit Orchard.com to get your free home valuation. That's Orchard.com.
It's Reaction Monday, powered by Silter Har Motors. Here's Denver Sports Tonight.
Mike Rice, Dante Gomez on this Reaction Monday. Denver Sports Tonight. Thanks for hanging out with us. Broncos and Bills this Saturday. We will know after tonight's game when the Broncos will play, whether it'll be the early slot to start divisional weekend or the night game. Do you have a preference, Dante?
I don't have a preference, no. I think there'll be the afternoon slot, but I don't think either way impacts me too much. I'm going to be, parked. My butt's going to be parked on the couch. I'm going to be watching very intensely. But, yeah, it could be day or night. I'm good either way.
So we know that the Broncos got the week off. They got the bye. All of Broncos country was able to sit back and watch things unfold and eventually watch the Bills earn their way with a trip to Denver after the Patriots beat the Chargers in We knew that the Bills would be coming here. Do you feel better about the Broncos now that you've had a survey of the other teams in the playoff field? Do you feel worse about the Broncos' chances? Where do you land on all that, Dante?
I feel worse mostly because this was the matchup I thought was the worst for the Broncos going into Wild Card Weekend. I would have much preferred the Chargers coming to town or the Steelers coming to town or even the Texans coming to town. I think it makes me a little more nervous that it's Josh Allen, the Bills, and I get that they're hobbled, but you never want to face a team where the best player on the field is the other team's quarterback. I think that makes me a little nervous for the Broncos. And the way that these offenses were able to move the ball outside of Justin Herbert and the Chargers, every offense was moving up and down the field pretty well, and it does make me a little nervous that the Broncos offense hasn't quite been able to do that super efficiently since that Packers game about a month ago.
Okay, so there really wasn't anything to the matchup issues that the Broncos have had with the Chargers, because it has been a struggle for Sean Payton versus Jim Harbaugh as those two have had their teams go head-to-head here since they've landed in these spots. And the Chargers defensively have matched up pretty well against the Broncos. And quite honestly, the Chargers offense has gotten some things done against the Broncos defense. So none of that was greater from a matchup standpoint than what the Bills are going to bring to Denver.
Correct. I think you're never going to get the perfect opponent in the divisional round of the playoffs. At that point, everybody's pretty good if you're in the final 8. So it was never going to be perfect, but I think the Chargers presented the least amount of obstacles with how banged up they are at offensive line, how good the Broncos pass rush is. I think they were going to be able to get home on Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert himself is pretty hobbled. He has that left wrist issue he's been dealing with, had surgery on that about a month ago too. So I liked the matchup of the Broncos pass rush against the Chargers offensive line. And on top of that, the Chargers did struggle to run the ball, and that was a big Achilles heel for the Broncos last year in that playoff game versus James Cook. I think James Cook was able to run the ball pretty heavy on them, and I don't think the Chargers would have been able to do that offensively.
See, I agree that the Bills are a tough matchup, and I have great respect for Allen. I don't think, on the one hand, the Bills are as good as they were last year, for instance,
I agree with that.
In the last, say, 3 to 4 years.
I agree with that.
So there is that. I have great respect for Allen, and he is good enough to overcome a lot of that by himself. The old put his team on his back and carry you across the goal line or carry you to the finish line with the W. So I acknowledge all of that. But I came away feeling like, if the Broncos play pretty well, they've got a great shot to win this game. And they've got a great shot to advance. It goes back to the overarching impression that really goes beyond everything that I saw this weekend, which is if you play pretty well, you've got a really, really good chance to win in this year's playoffs. And being at home, I don't think that guarantees the Broncos anything, but I certainly would rather have them be at home than going to Buffalo or going anywhere on the road. So I actually came away feeling like, all right, I feel a little better about the Broncos and their chances because there isn't a team that the Broncos could face this week and maybe could face in the playoffs that is just Superman. And there's no chance, there's no path to victory. And so I came away feeling like it's going to be a difficult week no matter who they play, and a difficult game and a tough game. But they got a chance. They got just as good a chance as the Bills to win this game, in my mind.
No, and I agree with you on that. I would have preferred, you're the 1 seed, you're at home. I would have preferred a situation where it's not a coin flip game. I would have preferred a situation for the Broncos to be 7-point favorites going into next week. So I think from that standpoint, yeah, there's no reason to be worried that you can't go win the game. But I think it is going to, the Broncos are going to have to play well to win the game. I don't think the Bills are going to hand them this game, where if you were lined up against the Chargers, I think you could play a B- game and get away with winning that game. I don't necessarily think that applies to the Bills.
Do you think that the Bills are going to have to play well to win on the road?
I hadn't thought about it that way. I think they have to play well. I don't know. I think their offense allows them to be in games regardless of necessarily the first half or the score. And you could say the same for the Broncos. Obviously, they have a lot of second half comebacks, fourth quarter comebacks this year. But I think if this Broncos offense struggles, that can really put them behind the 8 ball going into halftime, where they're forced to be a one-dimensional team throwing the ball a lot. And Bo Nix has been somewhat of a roller coaster this year in those results when he's asked to drop back that much. Are we going to get good Bo Nix, or are we going to get the not so good Bo Nix in that situation if they do fall behind? Where I feel more confident in Josh Allen if the Bills fall behind by a touchdown or two, that Josh Allen's going to step up and elevate the way he plays.
So I'm hearing you say, at least I think I'm hearing you say, that the Bills have a greater wiggle room to play less well, to play more poorly,
Yes.
however you want to put it, to not play as well than the Broncos do.
Yes.
See, that to me doesn't give the Broncos defense enough credit. What I'm hearing you do is say, well, Josh Allen is just destined to go score 34 points. Well, and I'm pulling that number out of the air, obviously. But to go have a day. Now, I know Josh Allen is perfectly capable of that. But is he guaranteed to put up 28 points?
I'll pull the numbers. I'm pretty sure he scores 30 points in every loss that the Bills have. So that means, yes, if they're going to lose the ball game, that he's still going to play pretty well.
Well, they didn't score 30 against Jacksonville.
No, in losses.
Oh, losses. See, I think the Broncos, I think they've got a good shot to win this game. Nothing's easy. It's not about how it looks anymore. We've argued that all season long, the style points. I wanted more style points in the game against the Chargers and the game against the Chiefs. I wanted it, of course. I wanted those. But can you find a way to win? A couple of interesting thoughts from Mike on the RamosLaw.com text line. The Bills' defense is the weakest unit. And on the other side of the coin, from the 63-30, the Bills, kind of along with the lines what you were saying, Dante, the Bills are the worst possible matchup for the Broncos. The Broncos have problems with mobile quarterbacks. Broncos have problems stopping the run. So why don't we choose an opponent with the most mobile quarterback and the number one rushing attack in the NFL? This just spells disaster on defense. The Broncos offense needs to score at least 30 or this will get out of hand in the hurry. So Chicken Little weighing in on the RamosLaw.com text line. And, of course, I joke. And it's fair. I mean, the Broncos have given us reason through a good part of the season to think that. But, again, I'm going back to, hey, the Bills went on the road and beat a good team, a team that hadn't lost in 2 months in the Jacksonville Jaguars, and they get credit for that. But they didn't show me that, oh, my gosh, the Broncos have, it's going to take a miracle to beat the Bills this weekend in Denver. I didn't see that. I didn't see that Bills team play. The Bills had to come back late and then hang on late to win that game.
No, and I agree with everything you just said there, but if you were more confident in one offense versus the other offense, wouldn't it be Josh Allen's offense?
I don't know. I honestly don't know.
Oh, really? Okay.
Well, and here's why. Because the Broncos, you think Sean Payton looked at the possibilities and didn't think about what they might do against the Bills?
No, I'm sure he did.
Yeah. And so I'm hopeful. Again, I fully recognize what the Broncos offense has been all year long. But they've also had some stretches of very good play. And they have the opportunity against this defense to have stretches of really good play, if not be as consistent as they've been in a game this year. I believe that because especially on the ground. And I know it's RJ, and I know it's Jaleel, and guys who haven't been the bell cow and aren't J.K. Dobbins and all the rest. And if they had Dobbins, I would love this matchup, the Broncos running game against the Bills defense. But you know what? Bills are still going to have to come to Denver and play well defensively. Is that a given?
No, absolutely not.
And that's my point.
The Bills' defense absolutely would be causing me concerns if I was coming from Buffalo, if I was coming from a Bills fan point of view. I just don't know what version of the Broncos offense we're going to get. I think
That's fair.
me, that's the biggest question mark going into this game is what version of Bo Nix in this offense are we going to get? Are we going to get one that puts up 17 points? Or are we going to get one that puts up 27 points?
If we get the latter, it might be home again in 2 weeks.
I agree, but if we get the former, if it's 17 points, I just don't know.
And you're right. I agree with that, of
If
course.
you put up 17 points, I feel confident that Josh Allen's going to outscore you.
Well, that's probably a good bet, too. You might even put some money down on that one. So it'll be fun. It'll be absolutely it'll be rocking at Empower Field. Finally, to close out our Broncos discussion on the RamosLaw.com text line from the 9494, I feel like the hunger the Bills team is stronger than the Broncos and is an unmeasurable factor. Tough game. I think the hunger factor, the intangibles factor is a draw. I really do. I don't think that the Bills are the more hungry team. I think the Broncos really want to show that they deserved the number one team or number one seed, I beg your pardon. And I think they just might go out and show that. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch. There are two teams in town that are on amazing runs for different reasons. That's next.
After an action-packed wild card weekend, Bo Nix will go head-to-head with Josh Allen with a trip to the AFC Championship on the line. Broncos country, the postseason has officially begun. Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan.
Progressive knows there are some surprisingly expensive things in life, like rugs. People say a rug would really bring the room together. And sure, you don't know what that means, but it sounds important. Suddenly you're using words like jute and sisal. Then you see the price and lose it because how can the thing you walk and spill on cost so much? So you devote your life to taking down Big Rug. But then you remember that switching your home and auto to Progressive could save you hundreds. So looks like Big Rug is safe. For now. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states.
This is the story of the one. As the purchasing manager at a manufacturing plant, she knows the only thing more important than having the right safety gear is having it there when you need it. That's why she partners with Grainger for auto reordering, so her team members can count on her to have cut-resistant gloves on hand, and each shift can run safely and efficiently. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
If you're one of the millions of Americans behind on your taxes, if you're afraid to open your mail because IRS collection letters could be coming, listen carefully. The IRS is cracking down, taking paychecks, freezing bank accounts, revoking passports. That's a fact. But here's what most people don't know. There are official tax relief programs designed to help struggling taxpayers. Programs that could save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief. Optima's award-winning team will fight to protect your paycheck, your passport, and your property. Their tax attorneys and licensed tax professionals will work tirelessly to get you the best deal possible with the IRS. Every day, penalties and interest keep piling up, so don't wait. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-783-8055. That's 800-783-8055. 800-783-8055.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Oh, could this vintage store be any cuter?
Right? And the best part? They accept Discover.
Accept Discover? In a little place like this? I don't think so, Jennifer.
Oh, yeah, huh? Discover's accepted where I like to shop. Come on, baby, get with the times.
Right, so we shouldn't get the parachute pants?
These are making a comeback. I think.
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2025 Nielsen report.
Hi, I'm Maria, salon owner. You know the jingle. Now discover the facts about Ozempic, a GLP-1. There's only one FDA-approved Ozempic made by Novo Nordisk. Learn about the real thing.
Talk to your healthcare professional today. Call 1-833-OZEMPIC or visit Ozempic.com to view the medication guide and to learn more about Ozempic. Semaglutide injection 0.5, 1, and 2 milligrams.
Is your financial advisor offering you up to a 30% upfront bonus?
Or are they promising you up to 10% growth per year, all for your retirement income? If not, then you need to come to Trajan Wealth. I'm Jeff Jr., founder of Trajan Wealth. If you have a plan to retire within the next 10 years, don't wait only to find out it's too late. I've seen hardworking folks like you retire only to be required to go back to work, all because their advisor told them guarantees like these were too good to be true. They're not. That's up to $30,000 upfront or up to $10,000 per year on $100,000, all guaranteed for retirement income. Don't keep working when you're supposed to be retired, and don't let any financial advisor tell you it's too good to be true. Call Trajan today, 720-204-8100. That's 720-204-8100.
Annuities, not advisory products. DBA Trajan Wealth Insurance Solutions. Additional disclosures at TrajanWealth.com.
Men, the new year is here, and if you're like many of us, you're ready to improve your health. But if you're feeling low energy, not sleeping well, or not seeing results in the gym, keeping that resolution can be tough. This is Jeff for the Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic, and if those symptoms sound familiar, we can likely help. They often point to low testosterone, and treating low T is what we do. But this year, we're also helping men go further with 4 targeted body composition plans featuring growth hormone peptides, NAD+, GLP-1s, PDA, and more, designed to boost energy, support metabolism, enhance recovery, and accelerate fat loss. With our low T treatments combined with our body composition programs, most men notice real improvements: more energy, better focus, improved sleep, stronger workouts, and often a renewed sex drive as well. So call us. Your initial visit is just $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult. And if you start on treatment the same day, your visit is free. Call 720-440-7900 or visit RockyMountainMen'sClinic.com.
Featured therapies are compounded and have not been evaluated nor approved by the FDA. Provider prescription required. See website for details.
Tune in to Stokely and Evans with Mark Schlereth, Wednesdays at 9:15 to hear ESPN NFL analyst Dan Orlovsky break down Bo Nix and the Broncos every week during football season. Denver Sports, 104.3 The Fan, DenverSports.com, and the Denver Sports app. It's Reaction Monday, powered by Silter Har Motors. Here's Denver Sports Tonight.
Mike Rice, Dante Gomez, rolling through a Monday, a Reaction Monday. A lot of talk about the NFL playoffs, the Broncos-Bills matchup. We're just getting started on all of that. Throughout the week, you will hear it up and down the lineup during the day. Want to spend a moment or two, Dante, in our last segment, talking a little bit about the Nuggets and the Avalanche. I really believe that these two teams are doing amazing things for different reasons. Let's start with the Avs. They're unstoppable. Almost literally.
Unless they're on the road in Florida.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, the back-to-back losses at the Panthers and the Lightning. But they were still only outscored 6-3. It's not like they were blown out in those games. And then they come back, and all they can do is score in wins over Ottawa and then Columbus on Saturday. They'll get Toronto later tonight at Ball Arena, and then Nashville on Friday, and then next Monday, Washington here, and then a week from this Wednesday, the 21st, Anaheim here. So it is a long homestand, 7 games spanning January 8th through January 21st. So just about 2 weeks at home. I don't know the word I would use to describe how good the Avs are. It really is that simple. They've played 44 games, 33 wins, 4 losses, and 7 overtime losses, and they still don't have a regulation loss at home. They're 19-0-2. It's incredible. How long can they go before they lose in regulation at Ball Arena?
I mean, at this point, might as well just keep it going. I don't
exactly. I mean, what sign is there that they're going to do anything else than that?
Maybe towards the end of the year, you built yourself a buffer in that number 1 seed, and you get to rest some guys going into the playoffs. But other than that, this team is so deep, so talented, and they can kind of go and win whenever they want to, especially at home, obviously. That's the way they make it look. So I don't see them stopping anytime soon. They are playing with an edge, and they are playing fast, and they're just better than everybody else. They really are. I don't know how else to say it other than they're just better than everybody else in the NHL at this point.
Yeah, and saying they're better than everybody else is an absolute understatement, right? I mean, they're just like light years ahead of everybody else right now, right? I mean, Landy goes down. It's like, oh, man, they lose their captain. It's like no big deal. I'm not glad that Landy went down, obviously. I'm just saying that that's the depth that this team has right now. Think of this, Dante, two things. When you look at the Western Conference, the Avs, 73 points. They're 12 points clear of Dallas and Minnesota, and it is January the 12th. They're 12 points ahead. Not only that, but the leader in the East, Carolina, has 59 points. Not even as many as Dallas and Minnesota. Now, this doesn't guarantee a Stanley Cup. It guarantees nothing. Diddly squat, as they say. But man, I mean, at what point does Jared Bednar think about, load managing for the playoffs? Not quite yet, because there's the Olympic break coming up, and then you get back into it. It's amazing. Now, so there's that level of amazing.
Real quick on
yes,
tack onto that. So they have a 12-point gap between them and the number 2 team in hockey.
Yes.
The next biggest gap between anybody, in the team above them and the team behind them, is 3 points.
Goodness gracious.
They are 4 times ahead of the team that's behind them.
It's just nuts.
It's nuts.
It is nuts. Now, you have the Nuggets. And the Nuggets are hanging on to the 3rd seed in the West, despite all of the injuries and all of the guys missing time, none more important, as we know, than Joker. The Thunder are 33-7, first place in the West, 5.5 up on San Antonio, which is 27-12. Spurs are 5-5 in their last 10. You know what the Nuggets are in their last 10 with all of these guys out? Not out for every game, but all of these various injuries and absences.
I would guess pretty similar, 5-5.
That's exactly right. Good pull. And the Nuggets are 1 game behind San Antonio in the 3 spot. Now, it's a crowded West right now. It's a very good Western Conference. So they're only a half game up on the Timberwolves, who are 7 back. The Lakers in the 5 hole are 8 back. The Suns in the 6 spot are 8.5 back. So the Nuggets have only a 2-game lead over the 6 seed. I think what the Nuggets are doing with all the absences right now is more amazing than what the Avs are doing. I expected the Avs to have a great year. What do you think?
I'm still going to go with the Avs in terms of more impressive, because we just don't see what they're doing.
No, that's true.
I get the Nuggets are going out and winning games that they probably shouldn't be winning, but, staying afloat's great. Being the leader of the pack, that's impressive.
Yeah, and they're lapping the field at this point is darn. I agree. I mean, you could sell me on that too. A lot of fun, Dante. Thank you as always.
Absolutely. Let's do it again on Friday.
Along with Dante Gomez, Mike Rice, thanks for joining us. Denver Sports Tonight on 104.3 The Fan.
The Broncos and Bills will meet in the playoffs once again. As the top dogs in the AFC, will Denver avenge its blowout loss